Yak farming. I mean, it sounds pretty exotic, right? It's an amazing and rewarding adventure for sure, but it's definitely not something you can just jump into without a solid plan. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down all the essential gear you'll need right from day one to really make a go of it.
All right, let's get real. You're probably picturing it now, that dream homestead life, a whole herd of these magnificent, shaggy yaks grazing peacefully on your land. It's a fantastic vision. But before you bring a single one of those animals home, we really need to talk about what it actually takes to get set up properly.
Okay, let's just dive right into this, because this slide really nails it. You might think, oh, yaks are just kind of like fluffy cows. But this right here, this is the reality check. Yaks are incredibly strong, seriously hardy animals. They can and will push right through standard fences, and they need some pretty specialized gear to keep them safe and healthy. I mean, good vibes are awesome, but they are not going to stop a 1,200-pound yak that's decided to go for a walk.
And that brings us perfectly to our first big section, building your yak habitat. This is all about laying the groundwork, the foundation. You absolutely have to get this part right before your yaks even set a hoof on your property.
So, your first order of business is infrastructure, and we are talking high-strength fencing. Trust me on this, yaks will test it. These animals are descended from wild stock way up in the Himalayas. They're smart, they're curious, and they are incredibly powerful. Your gates, they need to be just as tough. And yeah, yaks are built for the cold, but they still need some kind of shelter from the absolute worst of it. We're talking serious blizzards or crazy winds. This isn't just about keeping them in, it's about creating a home where they feel safe and secure.
Now check this out. 4 to 5 feet. That's not just a suggestion. That's the minimum fence height you need. Anything less than that, and you're just asking for an escape. This one simple number really drives home the fact that you're not dealing with your average farm animal here. These guys are powerful and way more agile than you'd think.
Okay, so your habitat is secure. Awesome. Now we can get into the nitty-gritty of daily life, the equipment you're going to need to support their health and nutrition every single day.
You know, consistent access to fresh food and water is just non-negotiable. Large, sturdy troughs are an absolute must. And listen, here's a super important tip if you live anywhere that gets cold. Heated troughs are essential. Yaks love the cold, that's true, but they can't drink a block of ice. And having good, solid feeders, that helps cut down on waste and make sure every single yak is getting its fair share.
All right, your yaks have a safe home, they're fed and watered. Now, how do you actually handle them for things like health checks? Part 3 is all about the tools for safe interaction and proactive wellness. And this is so critical, not just for them, but for you too.
This right here is where a cattle chute becomes your absolute best friend. Seriously, trying to give a vaccination to a yak out in an open field is a recipe for disaster for everyone involved. But as you can see here, a chute just changes the whole game. It lets you safely contain the animal, which lowers their stress and keeps you safe while you do what you need to do. It makes routine healthcare totally manageable and, most importantly, safe.
And while you've got them safely in that chute, this is the kind of kit you're going to need. It's not just for emergencies either. Being proactive is everything. You'll need tools for trimming their hooves to prevent infections, a good thermometer to catch any sickness early, and scales to keep an eye on their growth. Oh, and if you're in it for that incredible, luxurious fiber, high-quality shearing equipment is an absolute must-have. And that brings us to a really big question. What's your end goal here? What are you trying to produce? Because the equipment you're going to need from this point on depends entirely on whether you're raising yaks for their fiber, their milk, or for meat. This is where your farm really starts to specialize. This table just lays it all out so clearly. Are you raising yaks for that amazing fiber, which by the way can be softer than cashmere? Then you're investing in top-notch shearing and grooming tools. Thinking about a yak dairy? Well, that's a whole other level. You'll need a full setup with milking stalls and cooling tanks. And for a meat operation, those accurate scales and a really reliable trailer become your most important pieces of gear. Each path is a totally different financial and operational commitment.
Okay, last but definitely not least, let's talk about the gear that makes the whole operation run smoothly day in and day out. These are the tools that are all about efficiency and the long-term health of your farm.
You know, great farming isn't just about the animals. It's about the land they live on. Tools for managing your pasture and doing rotational grazing keep their food source healthy and stop them from overgrazing any one area.
A good, sturdy trailer is absolutely vital for transport. And hey, don't overlook the power of good data. Record-keeping software can help you track everything from an animal's health history to breeding cycles, which just makes you a smarter, more effective farmer in the long run. So when you boil it all down, it really comes to this. Every single piece of equipment we've talked about today isn't just an expense you have to deal with. It's an investment. It's an investment in the well-being of your animals, in your own safety, and ultimately in the success and profitability of your entire farm.
So after seeing the whole picture, from the fence posts all the way to the software, what about you? If you were starting this journey tomorrow, what's the very first thing you'd build or buy? Would it be the fence, the shelter, the handling chute? That first decision, well, that's the first real step on what could be a pretty fascinating journey.
Want to raise healthy yaks and avoid costly mistakes? Get your copy of How to Raise Yaks by Gerard Don in the description box below and discover everything you need to turn your yak farming dream into a profitable reality.